Hello, everyone, and welcome to another evening here with Debbie Sedify and myself, Deborah Blosnich. Tonight, we are going to have the fabulous pleasure of kind of interviewing Sabrina and find out how the EMF journey has impacted her life. So, thank you so much for being here tonight, Sabrina, and joining us and having this conversation.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Sure thing. So let's just kick things off with basically um, what initially inspired you to join and go through the EMF journey?
So, what inspired me to go through the journey was my what I call enough is enough moment, where I had three major things that we experience in life all collide pretty much around the same time. So, it started with a notification that I was not going to have my job role in 4 months. So I did have some runway, but find out I'm not going to have my job. Mind you, I had just moved to another city because I was a remote worker. So jokes on me, right? And then a couple of weeks after finding out about that, I fell down 3 stairs onto carpet and managed to break my kneecap. So that called for surgery, that called for 8 months of physical therapy. And then the final thing, so that's health. Work was career and finances. And then my last item that hit me a few weeks after that was a broken engagement. So that's relationships. And all of that happened in like a 8 week time period. I came across Peter a few months later, and one of the things that he said that got my attention was your outer world follows your inner world. And to that, I thought to myself, what are you talking about? My inner world is fine. So clearly it was not. As I went through the program, I discovered all the chinks in the armor, but that's what led me there.
Wow. Well, that is quite the story. And yes, I love though, like our initial response always is like, that's not me though. I'm good. Like, what are you talking about, right? Until somebody guides us to look. So fantastic. Not that that was a lot to go through though. So I can't wait to see how this progressed.
Yeah, it is a lot that happened in a very short period of time. Uh, and maybe I'm interested in how Peter's message resonated with you differently from other personal development programs that you may have encountered before you joined the EMF.
So Peter's message went under the hood a lot deeper than any programs that I had encountered before. Combine that with the fact of I did not have the distraction of work. So I was able to, come at it with my full self and listen, but not only listen, reflect. And it was perfect because I got to literally reflect back over my entire life, particularly my career, and recognize where, had I known what I was learning, might have presented different outcomes. But comes as it's supposed to, so I couldn't stress over the fact. I wish I knew this 20 years ago. The fact that I could now look at it and see, which then I think helps position me as I guide other people through the program to be able to relate to them, particularly if they're stressed out professionals who are constantly trying to, navigate the stressors of work, constant change, not being able to be vulnerable, and the like. So it was good from that perspective because I could relate back to those types of individuals.
Yeah.
Wow, excellent. You said a little bit that Peter went deeper. Like, can you give like maybe an example of what exactly you mean by like he went deeper than somebody else?
Yeah, and I'm gonna actually change the word from deeper to, even though it was deeper, to he gave great analogies that helped you get it.
Oh,
So
okay.
where other people may just give you the material, he would give you the material in a way that it stuck because he gave you an analogy that you could relate to. And then you could go, oh, okay, I get it. I get it.
Okay.
One of the ones that stands out most for me is judgment, and that is one that I'm so aware of now that when I'm around other people and I hear them go into judgment mode, I don't admonish them for it, but I do raise the awareness
Okay.
of judging. Now, one time I think it might have come across as an admonishment, but it was not. It was just the awareness of the fact that you're seeing how someone's behaving or reacting to life based on your lens, and you don't know what their lens, what their frame of reference is.
Right.
So, therefore, it's not a judgment, but maybe a question that you may ask of, well, I wonder what they've encountered in their life or what was their upbringing like that would lead them to that decision or that choice, but not, oh, they did it wrong because we don't know their context.
Okay. I love that. Yeah, and I love that you changed it to like it didn't not necessarily deeper, but he makes it very relatable and applicable. And
Yes.
then you can start picking up those new habits and traits that make our experience so much better. So I love that. Here's a big question. You kind of explained a little bit with your story leading up to finding EMF, but what were some of the emotions that you were feeling before you found the EMF?
My biggest emotion was sadness because of the loss of a relationship, the loss of a job. Work was a big central part of my life. So to remove that obviously is going to create a hole. I
Yeah.
was thinking of taking a different direction with my career before I encountered Peter, and then he sent me on a completely different direction, which is in alignment for what I said I wanted to do, which was to help others. So, as opposed to have a career where I'm my primary role is focused on improving the bottom line of the company, although that would be a mission if you're working for the company. But I also wanted to have a mission of helping others in the organization have better work life balance and to have better career moments than they may be currently having. So this kind of fit in a different way, but it fit in.
Okay. So, but
Yeah.
mostly sadness. Go ahead, Debbie.
Yeah, sadness. And as you mentioned, you had loss in 3 areas, key areas of your life. And it sounds like having the time to do the EMF because you weren't working actually was a blessing in disguise for you.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. It was. It
Yeah.
very much so was. And
And
I'm grateful.
yeah, such a great, I guess, turnaround for you. And I just wanted to know if there is a specific moment where you felt that the EMF had a profound impact on your life. Was there a specific moment that you can remember where you just had that aha?
I would say towards the end, as everything was coming together with identifying my values, my, towards values and away values, and understanding the map of consciousness, it was through those moments that my profound aha was, if I were to go back into the corporate workspace, I would be a kick butt mentor because I've now learned all of this wonderful material. And I never thought of myself as a mentor, although I've had a friend or two tell me that I was. But I never thought of myself as a mentor, never sought out mentorship type roles or side activities within the organization because I didn't think I was qualified or good enough. But after going through this program, I definitely believe that I would excel in the role as a mentor.
Wow. That's
Love that.
really that's a really great, I guess, aha moment for you to know that I what I take out of that to know that you're actually good enough, which
Yes.
is a big thing that a lot of people, a lot of women struggle with is, am I good enough? It really is.
Yes, I recently had a conversation with a gentleman, and he confirmed what I've always heard throughout my career that as women, we won't pursue certain roles unless we feel like we can check off all the boxes of all the requirements. Whereas a man will look at those same requirements and be like, "Huh, I've got a couple of them, so I guess I'm good," and they'll go ahead and apply. And he confirmed that for me because he said that's exactly what he does. He's like, "Oh yeah, if I meet a couple of the boxes, then I'm good. I'm applying for that job." So women suffer, I think, more than men on the not being good enough. Um, yeah.
That
At least
explains
in,
so much.
I was going to say, I think especially maybe in careers, but yeah, I don't like to start throwing stereotypes out there either, though. But I do hear you, Sabrina, on that. And um, I think if you talk to enough people, which we get to do in this realm that we're in, right?
Mhm.
But I have heard that as well. But I feel like then when it comes, and that's career wise, right? But I think if you talk to some men too, when it comes to the household and the child rearing and those kind of things,
Mhm.
men are gonna be like, "Oh, do not leave me alone with this kid. I don't know what to do." You know what I mean? Where we'd be like, "Whatever. I have like," and you don't even need anything. You're like, "We're gonna be fine, right?" They're like,
Yes,
ah.
that's right.
It's interesting, right? Hopefully, some of those gender roles are being dissolved for us.
Yeah, I think we still have more waiting to do on that.
Oh,
But
I think I agree. I just said I hope they're started to dissolve. And like, but it starts too with like us, right? And then hopefully
yes,
we get to spread this like right here
yes,
tonight. Anybody listening tonight, I hope they heard us when we said you
we'll
don't
be
have
looking.
to be perfect,
Right.
but you have to be on your way. You could be close, have a couple, you can figure the rest out when you get there, right?
There you go. A lot of stuff is learned. It's the key things underneath the communication skills, number one, that aren't always easily taught. And so it, creates challenges in relationships, be it work or intimate.
Absolutely. Fabulous. Great, great. I love that though. I just love to hear that though. But you've learned that like it's okay to be on your way, not 100%. Um,
Exactly.
and so you talked about the life experiences that brought you to EMF.
Mhm.
So since going through the Elite Mentorship Forum, the EMF, how has your life changed in regards to your career and your relationships and your health?
Okay. Well, the first thing I will say is it changed my career. So now I am a elite mentorship trainer is kind of my main job role, and I'm now an entrepreneur. So complete shifts for me. But again, wanting to impact the lives of others is what I was seeking to do anyway. So this gave me the opportunity, or gives me the opportunity, to be able to do that with individuals. And I've had the pleasure of serving as a community manager for now 3 cohorts. Literally graduated, as you know, on August 15th of 2023, and August 16th, I was starting my first cohort as a community manager, which was pretty amazing. Now I have graduated 3 classes, so I've impacted the lives of a little more than 50 people.
Excellent.
So
That's
that's
beautiful.
that's yeah, that's been the most amazing thing, is the career relationship. Haven't quite stepped my toe into that, but what I can say into intimate relationships. But what I can say about other relationships is I've noticed a shift in how people react to me. I'm always aware when I'm having conversations how people are receiving me and reacting to me, and I get some pretty positive reactions, whether people recognize that I see them or not. Probably one of my favorite ones was I was away at a conference and joined a lady for dinner. Didn't really know her, had seen her at the conference, but it wasn't like I knew her beforehand. And when we were done with our dinner, her comment was, "Wow, I feel like I should just take you back with me. You're such great company." So that made me feel good. Made me feel good.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Those kind of moments are really priceless to when, and I find even when I'm in the grocery store, I just have a skip in my step that I didn't have before, and people
Mhm.
react to that, which is
People
so,
react to it.
yeah,
The other thing that I do too is I'm very intentional when it comes to interacting with those who serve others, whether they're policemen, whether they're customer service. I get real intentional about going up to them and raising their significance. Just because, mainly because I know they don't get it enough.
Yeah,
That's the main reason, is that's the difference I want to make, is to be remembered for how I made you feel, not
nice.
what gifts I gave you, not how much money I gave you, or for making you feel bad. I want you to remember me because I made you feel good about yourself, maybe in a particular experience, or I just made you feel good, period. And then that makes me feel good.
Oh yeah, that's the way to really and nourish yourself as well as the other people, and
Right.
that's such a great thing. And I know you've already talked a little bit about some of these things, but we'll maybe get you to go into a little more detail
Okay.
about some of the unexpected insights and breakthroughs that you had during your EMF experience.
Hmm. Okay. Well, one of the insights that I gained during the process was, in my reflection, I reflected back over my entire career. And so my background from educational standpoint is accounting. I do enjoy numbers to an extent. I don't want to be a math teacher, but I do like numbers. And but my career ended up more kind of in operations management, chief of staff. So I moved away from the accounting. But what I recognized is, reflecting back on my career, I could only account for 25% This is why I was pointing out that I like numbers. 25% of my career was spent in through me. 25%. 35% was in by me, and the rest was into me. So I had a nice little chunk into me and a
Yeah.
nice little chunk in by me. And I wish that the through me period, which I didn't know was a thing, oddly enough, that particular job, I always said that was my favorite job of all jobs, but I couldn't tell you why. It's just my favorite job. But after going through EMF, I can tell you why. Because I felt valued, I felt heard, I felt seen, and things just fell into place in that job. I couldn't have created some of the circumstances that were positive. I couldn't have created them if I wanted to. But like I said, didn't have a term for it then. Now I have a term for it. I wish, looking back, if I could wave a magic wand, that over the course of my career, maybe it was more 50% or higher in through me, and 10% or less in to me. But that was a nice revelation to recognize and to know going forward. In that same realm, setting goals. So I worked for an organization who did what they called their big, hairy, audacious goals. And when we went through goal setting, I was like, oh, wow. So they knew about the big, hairy, audacious goals. I call it BAG, the big, audacious goal. They knew about it, but they never encouraged us as employees to set big, audacious goals. And for an organization that really promoted development of their people, I think that was probably a missed opportunity because people could then say, hey, I want to be this. Now, what are the gaps? How do I fill in? Who do I need to become in order to reach that versus our standard SMART goals that we would do? So those are a couple things that I can think of off the top of my head.
Nice. Very nice.
Yeah, I
Uh,
think they're pretty impressive. They
yeah.
all sound fabulous, right? New ways to set goals. And I love that big, audacious goals.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
The
for
bag.
everyone, right? Everybody should be setting them. So I love
Yes.
that. So with all of that being said, really, I feel like you've kind of answered this, but I'd like to hear your answer. How do you think EMF has set you up for long-term success and personal growth?
Wow. So it has set me up by creating a new me who has the ability to interact with people differently, who knows that she doesn't have to be right all the time, that I have nothing to prove, nothing to defend, nothing to conquer. I can just be authentically me and not think about the impact. I obviously want to leave a good impact, but less concerned about the good opinion of other people, which I lived in that space for a lot too. A lot of my decisions were driven by what will they think. And so no longer do I have to live that way. It really just makes me a different person. I was having a conversation with a couple of ladies. One lady had introduced me to the other lady. And then myself and the new lady that was new to me, we went out to breakfast. And so now we're having a conversation with the third lady, and the third lady described the old me and was talking to the other person. And I just turned and I looked at her and I was like, so I guess you haven't met the new me, have you? And she was like, well, I thought I had. And I was like, no, ask this person. And they were like, no, that's not the person I met. I met a completely different person. We had a very engaging conversation and we learned a lot about each other in our conversation. So That was like one of the ways that I knew I had grown, because it's not about me. That's the big thing. It is about me. I'm the star of my movie, but it's not about me. It's about others as well.
I love
Beautiful,
I
beautiful.
love that. That's the catch slogan. It's not all about me. But yet you, like you said, it is about you because you're the star of your movie, but then you can impact the lives of others the way that you wanted to, and what your intention is, which is great. And so the final question we have for you is, if you were speaking to someone, maybe there's someone in our audience that's going to view this, and you're speaking to someone about joining EMF, what would you tell them about your experience and why they should take that leap to joining the EMF program?
So the first thing I would say is run, run and join EMF, because you won't regret it. You will learn a lot about yourself. It's what you put into it, but if you trust the process and take the journey, you will learn a lot about yourself, and you will start to see yourself in a very different way, just as you will see others in a very different way. And when you open up your world to see the goodness in others, to, raise others' significance above yours, to come up with these giant goals that on the surface don't look like they can be accomplished, you'll learn that they can be accomplished. And the biggest bonus is you get to join a family of individuals who have all gone through this program. And EMF is known as the gold standard in personal development. But what I heard one of my trainer friends say, when you are around a lot of EMF graduates, it is the gold standard in hugs. Oh my gosh, just the best hugs ever. The transfer of energy, the fact that you know that it's real and it's not fake. Sometimes I've said, I can't believe I have to go halfway around the world to get these kind of quality hugs. Uh, it's a beautiful thing. But yeah, being around other EMF graduates is just a whole different kind of conversation and outlook on life. And if you want to change your peer group and elevate, EMF is the only way to go.
Yeah, it definitely, the peer group that we have and the people that I've met are just all amazing people. And one of the nice things about when you're at EMF grad, we all speak the same language.
Yes,
Yeah.
that part. That's the part that I love the most.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned by me, to me, and through me, and when we're talking amongst ourselves, that's just uh, part of the lingo.
It is.
It
It
is,
is.
for
Should I
sure.
give a brief description of what those mean now that you mentioned it? Because there may be some sitting there going, oh, yeah, what's that? So it's 4 levels of consciousness, which we learned very early in the program. To me is the lowest level. It's victim mode. You complain about everything. You don't, even consider that you may have a role in why things are the way that they are. Yeah, that was me. And then the by me is you are setting out to do everything on your own. And so you're setting the goals, you're figuring out the how, you're doing everything. You're chasing the rabbit. If you think about a dog track and they chase this rabbit that they never catch, that's the track that you're on when you're constantly chasing those goals, which is a lot of corporate America as well as the military, that's how they operate. But in through me, very similar to by me, you take out of the equation the how. and know that you can create your own reality with your mind. And if you're not trying to control it, it will come to you. I've had downloads, things that I've set intentions for, and I can be walking down the stairs and an answer will come to me because I no longer feel the need to have to figure out how it's going to happen. I leave that to what we call the chief how officer. And then the chief how officer sends the message to me how it's going to get accomplished. And then the fourth level is ASME, which is unity. Um, just, I like to say those are your Mahatma Gandhis, your Jesus, your Mother Teresa's, the people in the world that have love for everyone, regardless. There's no conditions on it.
Very good explanation. Thanks for doing that. That wasn't the intention, but it was definitely a nice little run through of all of those levels of consciousness. And it really becomes part of who we are and how you think when you're an EMF grad, for sure.
Sure.
It's a big part of what we've learned on this journey that we've taken. And I have to say, your journey is amazing. I mean, you came from 3 major blows. And, you know, if you look at where you are today, I'm sure that you can't even recognize that person that you were when all of those things happened. I know.
I can't. I do see her though. She does pop up in people around me because, you know, we tend to be around people that are like us, our peer group. And so when I'm interacting, I see things and I'm like, oh, that so used to be me. Ah, I'm glad I saw it and changed. And, you know, I can't really point it out to people. I can just be the example. And so that's what I try to do, just be the example.
Very good. I love that. It's a great way to end, to be the example. Sabrina, I want to thank you so much for joining us today and sharing your incredible journey. And you know, your story is truly inspiring. How you took something that for most people would be devastating, and through your EMF journey, have turned things around for yourself. And you aren't looking back, that's for sure.
No.
And you know, you hit on a lot of things, you know, the whole relationships, and you know, your financial relationship, your career, your personal intimate relationships. So you know, you had everything in there. And so if you are out there watching and you're curious about the Elite Mentorship Forum and how you can create lasting change in your life, we encourage you to take the next step. And whether that's improving your mindset, breaking your limiting beliefs, or finding a new purpose, you know, that what that goes with that big, hairy, audacious goal, then EMF is definitely here to support you on your journey. And if you're interested, you can check out the link in our description. There is a ultimate self-mastery masterclass that you can watch. And that can be kind of your introduction into the world of Peter Sage and what he teaches. And so check out the link. And again, Sabrina, I want to thank you for being here. Deb, as always, a pleasure.
Always.
We
Thank
will,
you, Sabrina. Always a beautiful time.
and,
Yes, yes. Thank you for the opportunity. I really appreciate it.
all right. And we'll see you next week, where we'll talk to more EMF grads and their amazing experiences.